Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Welcome to Muskoka. In this game, we will be competing to be the ultimate adventurer of Muskoka. We will move to different locations, explore different areas, accumulate wildlife tokens, and hopefully acquire the Innocent card as well in order to get those additional points needed to win the game. And don't worry, along the way and during our journeys, we will get some rest and relaxation cards as well to help ease the gameplay and give us some advantages over other players. Let's first talk about the objective of the game. This game is a little bit unique in that you will actually need to have 3 different objectives completed in order to initiate being the ultimate adventurer or winner of the game. First, you will need to complete your detour. You will also need to earn all 5 categories of wildlife tokens. You will find these animal icons on the back of each token. You will need to get moose, bear, deer, beaver, and loon. You will also need to accumulate at least 25 total points in the game in order to win. Let's get started with game setup. In order to set up the game, you are going to need to open the Muskoka board map. Next, take your Explorer cards. You're going to want to shuffle these thoroughly as there's 108 different Explorer card options. You will find a place on the bottom right side of the board where you can set these Explorer cards. Go ahead and turn over the top 3 cards from the Explorer deck. These face-up cards are going to be our Explorer offering. These cards are going to help us earn movement and complete our journeys as we discover Muskoka. Go ahead and next shuffle the deck of R&R cards. Place them in a face-down pile next to the game board. You'll then take all the wildlife point tokens and place them next to the game board as well. Go ahead and place the Innocent card next to the board map as well. Shuffle the location cards and place them in a pile face down next to the board map, ready to be handed out. Each player then selects their meeple for their adventure. There are 12 different locations on our board game map. Players will take turns, starting with the oldest player and finishing with the youngest. So the oldest player will start by taking 2 location cards from the top of the face-down pile. The first location card taken will be placed in front of the player face up, and they will move their meeple to the location indicated on the card. The second location card should only be looked at by the card holder, not shown to anyone else. Keep this card face down. This second location card is referred to as your detour. At some point during the game, you must visit your detour. Once you have arrived at your detour, you must announce it and turn over the location card so that all the opposing players can validate that you accomplished your detour. For example, if I start at location 11, but my detour is location 8, once I arrive at location 8, I will announce it to the table and make sure that they validate that my detour was fulfilled. As a side note, it is okay for multiple players to occupy the same location at any time during the game. Once everyone has received their starting position as well as their secret detour card, the highest starting location number will start the game. In order to help you complete your journey and earn wildlife point tokens, you will be able to do 3 different actions on your turn: collect, elect, and select. Let's go ahead and break down what each of these actions allows you to do. First thing you're able to do on your turn is collect. At the start of each turn, the player is allowed to collect 2 Explorer cards, 1 card at a time, from either the face-up Explorer offering or from the top of the face-down Explorer deck. Once you take a card from the face-up Explorer offering, immediately replace it from the face-down Explorer deck. Let's talk about these Explorer cards. There are 4 different modes of Land Explorer cards. They are hike, bike, ATV, and Drive, and 4 different modes of Lake Explorer cards. These are Swim, Canoe, Jet Ski, and Boat. You will find that the iconography of this game is terrific, and these cards correspond to the mode of travel depicted on the board map. In order to complete a journey, you will need the correct number and mode of Explorer cards between 2 connected locations. For instance, if I wanted to move between location 6 and location 2, I would need to play 2 ATV land cards in order to make that journey happen. Additionally, in the deck, you are going to find Leisure Explorer cards. They're going to be available both for land and lake. I like to think of these as wild cards. The Land Leisure Explorer card can be used as a hike, bike, ATV, or drive Explorer card. And of course, the Lake Explorer card can be used as a swim, canoe, jet ski, or boat Explorer card. Now, a couple things to note about acquiring these cards. If you acquire a Leisure Explorer card from the Face Up Explorer offering, instead of taking 2 cards during your turn, you can only take 1. Now, on the other hand, if you acquire this from the Face Down deck, you can still take 2 cards as normal. If at any point the Face Up Explorer offering has 3 identical cards, no worries. Discard the entire Face Up Explorer offering and replace them with 3 new cards. If you ever expire the whole Explorer deck, don't worry. Shuffle the discarded and refill your deck. No problem. Now that takes care of the collect phase of your turn. Next is phase 2, which is elect. Now the first round when you play this game, this won't really apply because you haven't acquired any of the R&R cards yet. But on future turns, the elect phase is when you decide if you want to play an R&R card. You can only play 1 R&R card per turn. And don't worry, these cards are very detailed and I will leave you to read over them on your own, but I do want to point out a few. Some of the R&R cards, to be specific, the ones fishing and squirrel, do not need to be played. Rather, they remain secret from other players and are only revealed once you have secured victory in the game. These R&R cards can give you advantages and your opponents disadvantages. Read them and use them wisely in order to secure victory. Now, if you're wondering, how do I get these R&R cards? Don't worry, we're getting into phase 3 of your turn, which is select. Now, during the select phase, you can pick one of 3 things to do. You can complete a journey, acquire an R&R card, or sit dockside. Let's go over what each of these mean. First up is complete a journey. In order to complete a journey, you need to present the correct number and mode of Explorer cards between 2 connected locations. Once you've played these cards, they will go in the discard pile and you get to move your meeple to their new location. For example, let's say I want to move from location 8 to location 3 by land. I would need to play a drive, ATV, and a hike. Now, when you complete a journey, you will also take corresponding wildlife point tokens. Yes, we're finally at the part where you get to acquire these wildlife tokens, which, don't forget, is part of securing victory for the game. Let's break down how you acquire these wildlife point tokens. When you complete a land-based journey, depending on how many Explorer cards your journey required, will depend on what wildlife token you receive. For instance, if it took 5 cards in order for you to complete your journey, you'll get a moose token. 4 cards will get you a bear token, 3 cards will get you a deer token, 2 cards, a beaver token, and 1 card, a loon token. So for our earlier example, where I moved from location 8 to location 3, I used 4 land cards. In addition to playing my 4 land cards, And moving to my new location, I would also acquire a 4 bear token. Now don't forget, in order to win, you have to earn all 5 categories of wildlife tokens. So plan accordingly. Now what if you complete a lake-based journey? Well, that's a little bit different. Like the land-based journey, the number of explorer cards required to complete the lake journey will determine what wildlife point token you earn. But with lake-based, they will be doubled since there are half as many lake cards as there are land cards. So basically, since the lake journeys are twice as difficult, you get twice the reward. So unlike the land journey, if you have a 5-card lake journey, instead of 1 moose, you will get 2, so forth and so on. Now there's one other way you can take a journey, and that is a mixed mode journey, meaning you're using both land and lake cards to get from one destination to another. There are 7 different journeys depicted on the map that this situation applies to. Keep in mind, there are no mixed mode 5-card journeys. So the highest journey you can take that's mixed mode is going to be a 4-card journey, which will get you 1 bear token, so forth and so on. What happens if these wildlife tokens run out? Don't worry. Find something else to supplement. You are not limited by the physical number of tokens that come with the game. You can always keep these wildlife point tokens out in front of you. They need to be visible for other players so we can all see where everyone's at in their journey, and make sure no one is too close to winning, obviously. Now keep in mind, just like the elect phase, where you can only play 1 R&R card, the same goes for the select phase. You can only complete 1 journey on your turn. Now, there are some R&R holiday cards that allow you to complete more than 1 journey. So keep this in mind when you're deciding whether or not to acquire those R&R cards. They may end up benefiting you in the long run. Speaking of R&R cards, let's talk about how we acquire those. It's pretty simple. In order to get an R&R card during phase 3 of the select phase, instead of completing a journey, you can acquire an R&R card by discarding any 2 Explorer cards. All you have to do is place those 2 Explorer cards face up in the discard pile. Then you can take the top face down card from the R&R deck. You can only acquire 1 R&R card per turn. After you've acquired this card, you can look at it and keep it face down in front of you. The next time you'll be able to play this is on your elect turn next round. The only exception to this rule is if the R&R card is a point card and allows you to win right when you draw it, then you can flip it over and you've won the game. And of course, the third option in our select phase is sit dockside. If you're unable to, or maybe just decide not to complete a journey or acquire an R&R card, you can basically just sit dockside or pass your turn. The last thing I want to talk about is the Inukshuk card, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. And this card is going to be held by the player who has earned the most wildlife point tokens in the game. This can only be claimed once a player in the game has collected at least 5 wildlife point tokens, regardless of their category. So once you have 5 wildlife tokens, you get to have this card in your tableau. Now this gives you an additional 3 points. Be careful, because this will only remain in your possession as long as you have the most wildlife point tokens. As soon as another player surpasses you, they can steal it. Then they get the bonus 3 points. So once a player has completed their detour, earned all 5 categories of wildlife point tokens, and accumulated at least 25 game points, you are the ultimate adventurer.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.